Hello, everybody. It's Frank here. You know, seasons don't fear the Linux, nor do the wind or the sun or the rain. We can be like they are. So come on, don't fear the Linux. Oh, look at that old ugly computer. That box is so ugly looking, I have to stick it behind the desk so that nobody will see it because I'm embarrassed by it. It does, look at that. It even has a floppy drive. I bet you've also got one of these gathering dust in a corner someplace and you're just dying to know what to do with it. It's out of date. The operating system is not supported anymore. It'd be nice if you can make some use out of this thing. Maybe give it a new lease on life. But one good thing it's got a DVD drive, and I'm going to show you a cool thing to do with that. Now, one thing about many of the popular distros or distributions of Linux out there is that from their website you can download an ISO image that allows you to burn what's called a live CD or live DVD. And what this allows you to do is you can start up your computer from that DVD and it will install the entire full working version of the operating system in RAM on your computer. So you can try things out without having to install any files, without messing with your hard drive at all. And if you don't like it, you just eject the disk and restart your machine and you're back where you were. This is really cool if you want to test out different flavors of Linux to see which one you like best or to learn with it, or also to find out which one works best with your hardware. If you have some older hardware or something that you'd like to get a fresh operating system on, this is a great way to find out how well that's going to work before you invest any real time or effort into it to speak of. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the operating system is all being loaded into RAM. So it's going to be a little bit sluggish to do certain types of things because it's going to have to go back and forth to that DVD and load certain parts into RAM as you go. So don't be too put off by that. Generally speaking, it works very well. The one thing to keep in mind is if your computer has a gig or less of RAM, it may be a little slow, may be hard with some of the distros to try it out in this fashion. It works very well if you have 2 gigs or more. So keep that in mind. There are lightweight versions of Linux that'll work with much less RAM. If you do happen to have an older computer that has a gig or less of RAM, some good options to try out there are a distro called PC Linux, or another one is Ubuntu for lightweight Ubuntu. And those will often work very well in an older system that's a little hampered by RAM. So let's get to it. I'll show you how to get this all tested out. Okay, here's my old desktop with Linux Mint 14 on it that I've used for so long. You can see the clouds are forming, getting a little dark and gloomy, so it's time to upgrade this thing for sure. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go and select our distribution we want to use of Linux. Okay, let me show you a good place to get information on all the different distributions of Linux that are out there, and that is a site called distrowatch.com. And on this site, it'll show you the latest distributions that have been released and some information on them here as they come out. But the cool thing is on the right-hand side here, it'll do a general popularity. What's the most popular ones being downloaded out there? And they rank that by hits per day on this site, which is an excellent way of finding out how popular the different distros are. Right now, Mint is at the top. It's been there for quite a while. Ubuntu is second. Debian is very popular, very stable system, and on and on and on. There are tons of them. Let's say we picked one that we like. We want to get more information on it. Just click the link here. And on this page, it'll show you what the default desktop looks like. It'll give you information on the OS type, what it's based on, which in Mint's case is based on Debian, which is the same as Ubuntu, which is very nice. It tells you the different desktop versions you can get, and there's a number of them. There's Cinnamon, there's GNOME, there's KDE, Mate, Xface. Gives you a little description of it, which is good to read through. And down here, it'll give you the home page where to get this thing. It'll show you links to about a bazillion reviews. And we scroll down here and we see the release history, which is pretty nice. And we can tell which version we want. And the latest one is 17, which is Kiana. There's a release date. It's free, of course. And it tells you the default desktop. There's actually 2 of them shown here. They're actually different downloads, and I'll show you that. the package management, which is Debian, the same as Ubuntu, the Office suite that comes with it, which is LibreOffice, and on and on. Lots of information down here. We scroll down a little bit more, and it shows you what comes with it when you download it. And Mint comes with Firefox. It comes with GIMP, which is an image editing program, which is very good. It comes with LibreOffice down here. Scroll down a bit more, and just all the stuff that comes with it. It comes with VLC Media Player and pretty much everything that you need to really get up and running with this thing. Not a whole lot you need to add on to it. Over here, it'll show you the version that it comes with. Like Firefox comes with version 28. Once you update the system after you install it, this over here is showing you the most current version, or what should be the most current, which is 32. Once you update Mint, it'll update to the most current version of everything. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the different distros of Linux out there is that not all of them come with a live CD or live DVD download. I'll show you how to check that out. Let's check out Mint here. And what we're looking for is under category where it says live medium. And that's what's telling us that it has a live DVD or a live CD download available. Live medium as well. Here it is here. Now, if you click on this, it'll actually do a search in here for distros that come with live medium right here. So if we go down here, you can kind of see that this sorted by popularity. And you can see Mint, Ubuntu, Debian. Those are a list of the ones that come with that live medium. Just wanted to point that out. So what will happen is when you go to start up the machine from the DVD, it should not ask you to install anything. It should just start up and start going. Just be aware of that. Make sure you get the distribution and run it in a live CD or live DVD format so that it is not installing anything to your hard drive. So this is the one I want. I'm going to go to their website here, linuxmint.com, and get it. Okay, and here's our homepage. You can see the latest version, Mint 17 Kiana, is featured here. And they've got different flavors. They've got X-Face, KDE, which is a different version of the desktop and how it looks. They've got another one called Mate, or Mate, some people call it. And then they've got Cinnamon, and I like Cinnamon. And I'm going to go to that. So I'm going to click on download links here. And here we've got a few good things. You can read the user guide. They've updated that. It's a good thing to download and read through. It's not that long. I think it comes on the disk. Release notes are a good thing to read if you haven't. And down here you can get all the different versions of Mint. And what I'm looking for is Cinnamon, of course, right at the top. And I don't want the OEM, and I don't want it without the codecs, things like MB3 support and things like that. I want the full thing. And you can get Cinnamon with 32-bit or 64-bit. Normally you want to go with 64-bit. Somebody's asked me to download and make a copy of a 32-bit disk for them, so I'm going to choose 32-bit here. And this is an important thing to have here. This is the MD5 hash of the file that you're going to download, the ISO file. And what that'll do, once we download this file, we're going to compare that number with what it reads from the file itself that we get down here and see if they match. And that'll tell us if anything has been corrupted during the download process or whatever. So, and then there's release notes here. There's the announcements, so forth, if you want to go through that. Yeah, we just pick where we want to download this from. I don't think Africa is a good choice. Asia, probably not the best for where I'm at. Yeah, let's go down here to North America. That happens to be where I'm located. And you just pick a place to go here. Like, let's be patriotic. Let's go to James Madison University. And just tell it to save file. And we'll hurry up and wait. Okay, that thing is finally finished downloading. I've gone ahead and taken it from the home downloads directory and just moved it to the desktop here to make it a little easier to work with so you can see what's going on a little better. And I've left that website open so that you can still see the MD5 hash. And what we're going to do now is we're going to check that MD5 hash against the file that we downloaded and see if they match. And now I'm going to go into Terminal. And I'm going to change to the desktop, CD desktop with a capital D. And directory, there's our file. Now I'm going to check that MD5 hash. To do that, it's real easy. You just type in MD5 sum and then the file name. Okay, there it comes up. And here is our checksum number. So what we want to do is find out if that number looks to be the same as this number down here, 00EF2BA, blah, 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 blah. I look at the first bunch of numbers and the last bunch of numbers. So 6ECEBF, and it looks good. So our download is good. Go ahead and close that thing out. Now let's go ahead and burn a DVD disc of that ISO file. And notice it's just a single file. But when we burn the image, the disk image, onto a DVD, the DVD will unpack everything and have all the files ready to go here for us. So the easy thing is just right-click on that and select Open with Bracero. Normally, Bracero works just fine to do this. You just basically right-click the file and tell it to burn the image, and it'll ask you where, and you go from there. But for some reason, Bracero doesn't like the type of disk that I'm burning to. I've run into this before. So what I really like to use is a program called K3B. And you can get that through the software manager. Let me show you how to do that here. Just go into software manager and then just enter the password. And what you want to do in here is just type in the search box K3B and search for that. And it's right on top. Double click that. And there it is. Now I've already got it installed. Otherwise it'd say install instead of remove here. And that's where I got that from. And for Windows 7, Windows 8 users, all you need to do is just right click on the ISO file that you downloaded and select burn disk image. And I like to click verify disk after burning and put an empty DVD in the drive and click on burn. That's all you've got to do. Okay, now back to our original desktop here. And what I'm going to do is right click that file and open with K3B. There we go. Give it a check. You notice down here on the screen, it actually calculated that MD5 sum and did it pretty quickly too. That's pretty cool. You can use this same feature to compare that with the website like we did earlier. And all the defaults are good. The only thing I check is verify data after it's written. And hurry up and wait. And it'll go ahead and burn that disk. It unpacks everything and then it burns all the files to the disk. And then because I've told it to, it's going to go back and check and verify that everything wrote to the disk correctly. And through the magic of the edit buttons, I've got the disk burned. And now if we open up that disk on there, we see that it's unpacked everything and it's got a whole bunch of files on here now. So it looks like we've got a disk that is ready to go. We'll give it a try. This is my Mint 14 computer, and basically what I do is I just put that DVD in the drive and start up the machine. And if your BIOS is set to start from a CD or DVD, which they normally are, then it'll just start from that automatically. If it's not set for that, you'll have to go into your BIOS and tell it to search for the CD drive before it goes to the hard drive. Okay, here's another thing I wanted to show you. As this thing is booting from the DVD, is hit the escape key, and you get a list of some really pretty cool, useful tools here. And the first thing you want to do, if you're building a brand new system, is you can run this memory test. And it'll go through and test every little bit of the RAM that's in your machine to make sure there's no errors. And it can take a lot of time. If you're just upgrading a machine that's been working properly, anyways, you don't need to do this, but it's a good thing to have there. And also, if you have a machine that you suspect has memory problems, you can take this live CD and just plop it in that machine, start it up from the CD, and run this memory test. It's kind of a handy diagnostic thing. One thing we do want to do, especially if you're going to be installing this on your machine, is click the integrity check feature. And what that's going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get it started here. What that's going to do is it has a file on the disk that has MD5 checksums of all the files that are on the disk. And it's going through every file, calculating an MD5, and then comparing it to that list. And that's really useful because it verifies that it can read the information that you burned onto that disk without any errors. You always want to go through this integrity check if you're going to be installing this operating system, which I'm going to. Okay, so I let it finish the integrity check and then just told it to restart the system, and let's see if this thing's going to start up without any issues. Okay, there we have it. The desktop is all loaded up. Everything started up just fine. This is loaded up just the same as if you had installed this on a hard drive. The only difference is this Install Linux Mint icon here. So let's check it out. Let's go to Menu. And if I go into All Applications, you can see there's a lot of stuff already installed that comes on that DVD that you burned. I won't go through all of these, but basically just kind of scroll through there and you can check all these out. If you highlight over one, it tells you on the bottom of the screen there what it is. And there's all your LibreOffice stuff, all kinds of good stuff here. So let's start up some things. We'll go to, let's start up GIMP and see what that looks like. And this is version 2.8. And that starts up, and you can go ahead and use this here to try it out as well. Keep in mind when you update the system, it'll update all this software, and you don't want to do that until you've actually installed it on a hard drive. And in case you're wondering, if you do some work on this and you want to save a copy of whatever you're working on, you can put a thumb drive in this thing and it'll recognize it, and you can save files to it as normal. So even though you're running in RAM, you still have access to save things that you're working on. Let's see what else we have here. We've got the full Office suite. You can start up LibreOffice. That's all in here. And, you can give that a good play around to see how you like that. And let's see what else we have here. Firefox is installed. We'll click on that and check that out. Now it's giving me a server not found message only because the internet network cable is disconnected from this machine. Everything loaded up without an internet connection. And you can do that just to check things out. There's no problem with that. But keep in mind, if you're going to install Mint on this machine, you will need an internet connection for Mint to install. And you'll need that, of course, to update the system once it's installed. One thing I have found with Linux, now I've tried this same Linux Mint 17 and a bunch of other distros on a variety of computers over here, even an old 486, an old ancient AMD system, and just everything in between. And generally, it almost always works right out of the box. You would be amazed at what hardware just simply works when you start this thing up. Video cards, network cards, wireless internet cards, even an old ancient one I've got here. It all just loads up and works. There's no installing drivers or any of that stuff. Very rarely do I have to do that. And that's a good thing to kind of check out with a live CD like this, is to find out what things are going to work. I think the only time I really had a problem was I have one machine that had integrated graphics and Mint just couldn't figure that out. But I was able to get that one to work properly with various other distributions without any issues. Let's see, let's change the desktop background here. This will hog up a bunch of memory, so I don't know that I necessarily recommend this. And it has to start up the CD drive, so let's see. Let's put this beach on there and then get rid of that. There we go, that looks a little better. Now to install this system, if you decide, hey, this thing looks really good and you want to install it, all you do is click on Install Linux Mint, and you will need an internet connection, and it will find whatever hard drives are in that machine or partitions, and it basically just install it as you normally would, and then you're all set. If you don't want to install it, you can fool around with this thing all you want here, and the only thing you do at the end is just go down here to Shutdown, and it'll actually even eject the disk for you. And then you just hit enter and it shuts the system off. And take the disk out, restart it, and your computer is as it was. It doesn't write anything to your hard drive at all, which is really cool, really fun to use. So that's it for running a live DVD to check out Linux. I really encourage you to give a look at Linux Mint, give a look at some of the other distros out there that are popular. Try it on your machine, see how you like it. And if you do like it, install it. I thank you for watching. I thank you for sticking to the end here. And I hope you found that useful and informative. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Also, I'd really like to hear your experiences with Linux and different distributions you've tried and successes or failures, what works best with particular hardware or older machines. I'll leave that in the comments. I really like to share that with other people. I'm going to be putting out more and more videos on Linux, how to use it and how to get more use out of it. So if you're interested in that, do be sure and subscribe to my channel, and that way you won't miss anything. So until next time, don't fear the Linux, and thank you for watching.